this is Frode and welcome back to Actualize Notes TV. Today we have another great book, Steve Jobs, by Walter Isaacson. Steve Jobs. Walter Isaacson is the CEO of the Aspen Institute and has been the chairman of CNN. And after over 40 interviews with Steve Jobs and hundreds of interviews with his family members, co-workers and other people who knew him, he has compiled the biography of Steve Jobs. And it was a really great book. And by the way, Steve Jobs is, as you might know, the founder of Apple, one of the world's most valuable companies, most valuable in 2011. And this is a really great biography and really comprehensive. It's a 550 plus page book that I mostly recommend to those who really admire some of the qualities of the guy. I skipped quite a few of the chapters, especially those going into detail about the products themselves, because that's not really what I do here. I'm looking at the big ideas we can apply to our lives. But anyway, it was a great book and I highly enjoyed it. So let's jump into our first big idea, intensity. Steve Jobs had a searingly intensive personality. Those are the words that Walter uses. And a ferocious drive. And those are the qualities that most inspire me in Steve Jobs. He would actually take things to irrational extremes. He would always do that. He was really interested in Zen in his youth. So he would start walking barefoot, and then he started walking barefoot everywhere, literally. And by the way, I'm walking barefoot right now, myself. And so he would go around barefoot. He would actually go into the office of the CEO or the company president of Atari, I think it was. He would pitch to the president and put his feet up on the table. And not only would the company president not give Steve Jobs the money he needed, but he would have to get his feet off his desk also. So he was kicked out of the room. He also walked barefoot for several years after that. But that's his intensity. He had a really searingly intense, ferocious drive that I think we can all learn a lot from. And our second big idea is reality distortion. Steve Jobs operated with something that people called the reality distortion field, that they've taken from Star Trek, the term. And in this field, he could have illogical visions of the future, and he could make them real. Things that people thought were impossible, he would simply make possible. And that's also what we gotta do if we want to actualize our highest potential. Because that's the thing with our visions. Every single great person who has achieved something great has had a vision of the future that almost nobody else believed. It may have been only themselves. But they had the reality distortion effect over time, so they could make it real. Which begs the question, what is your vision? And what can you do daily to work toward it? Our third big idea is think different. I guess you know about the classic commercial Think Different from 1997, I think it was. And the end of it, I think it is, the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do it, or something in that direction. And that's so true. And one way of changing the world, as I've seen from dozens of books, is that people think differently. And to think differently, they have to see things differently. And how do you see things differently? Well, we go a lot more into that in the books Iconoclast by Gregory Burns and Originals by Adam Grant, so you can check out those episodes if you like. But for now, know that you need to bombard your mind with new stimuli. And that doesn't mean push notifications and distractions like that. It means reading widely and deeply, getting to know new people, new cultures, going to new places, and expanding your sense of reality. That gives you a much better ability to think differently. And maybe you can make that illogical vision a reality. Our fourth big idea is Stanford. And this, I guess you're familiar with the Stanford commencement, where Steve Jobs says that don't waste your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Because we have to live our own lives, not lives not lives directed by the opinions of others. And that reminds me of Stephen Pressfield from his book The Warrior Ethos, where he says that the hardest thing in the world is to be ourselves. Who are we? Our society tells us, our family tells us, laws and customs tell us, but what do we say? And it also comes down to that. You need to have the confidence to trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string, as Emerson said, and choose your own path, where you're going to go. Not go on all the other myriad footpaths that are crossing your path. In short, get clear on your vision and move towards it, not other people's visions. Our fifth big idea is what drove Jobs. Yeah. Since Jobs had the most valuable company in the world, you might think that money was something that drove Jobs, but it was not. It was his appreciation of the contributions of those who came before him, and his desire to add something to that flow. And he reflects on all the things we take share in. For example, I use this computer that I didn't build, I use these programs that I didn't create, I use these clothes that I didn't create, but I'm able to receive the benefits from them. And appreciating what came before us and adding something to that flow is really what I'm doing through Actualize. I'm appreciating all the wisdom of those who came before us thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, who are living with us right now, and I try to amplify that wisdom and see how we can embody it and apply it directly to our own lives. So that's how I add something to that flow of what came before us. And it begs the question, what flow are you going to add something to? What do you appreciate that has come before you? And again, what will you add to it? Again, what drove Jobs was his appreciation of what came before him and his desire to add something to that flow through his unique expression. The Stanford commencement, live your life, not the life of other people's opinions. And know that the hardest thing in the world is to be ourselves, but we got to be ourselves. Think different by seeing differently. Watch Iconoclast and Originals for more on that. Reality distortion, create illogical visions for your future, and have the faith that they might become real even though other people don't believe in them. Every single great person had a great illogical vision. And finally, intensity. Let yourself take things to an irrational extreme, so long as they are serving others and they're not destructive to yourself. Alright, that was a sort of meandering look at Steve Jobs. Highly enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it to you who want to know more about Steve Jobs. Now, think about the one idea that most resonated with you, the one that really maybe got you inspired to take some action. And think about one small, simple step you can take towards embodying that idea a bit more into your life right now. Right, thanks for watching. Look forward to sharing more wisdom with you soon. Have another awesome day. See ya.